It was amazing to witness Janelle quietly destroy Kody's ego in that episode. She was on fire. To begin with, Kody was ecstatic to see her nearly glowing, as if he believed that everything would suddenly turn out well for him. Then, without hesitation, Janelle confronted him directly and told him that he was self-centered and selfish. The audacity, that is. I was on the verge of cheering at the chef's kiss in his face. I adore her, but really, Kody, you can't just pick up the phone and say it yourself. That whole thing tells Savannah that. In truth, he acted like the injured party even though she had to be spoon-fed. Let's also discuss her legal strategy. Hey, hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel TLC Flicks. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Janelle isn't a fool. Although she has already met with one lawyer, she made a subtle implication that she will be interviewing more. This action goes beyond simply examining her alternatives. Oh no, she is well aware of her actions. She's making sure he's left with the bottom of the barrel by meeting with all the competent lawyers. It's a brilliant move, and he doesn't even anticipate it. Naturally, however, Kody was unable to remain composed throughout the confessional. Once he was comfortably on the couch, he tore her to pieces, demonstrating that he is the ultimate victim in this whole charade. And let's not even talk about Robyn. He hasn't been enchanted by her, but neither of them can take even a small amount of responsibility. Every time Janelle confronts him honestly, he manipulates the situation to make Robyn appear like a martyred saint, even though she is far from innocent. And this entire Kody doesn't listen to anyone routine. Don't hurt me. This is the same individual who blindly joined a fervent religious sect. It's not like he's a brilliant thinker who is impervious to influence since he's been brainwashed before. Let's be honest. Robyn has become his new boss, leading him away from the family and any true responsibility. Telling Savannah that I love her is ironic, isn't it? As if it were her job. He truly doesn't understand it now, and let's face it, he never will. Robyn realized long ago that Kody is all about Kody. She is secure because she knows just how to boost his ego. However, those previous marriages served only as stepping stones to his desired outcome. The worst part is that, he has a phone in his pocket. But saying, "Hey, I love you," to his own children. Not at all. He could literally copy and paste that stuff a dozen times and still refuse to do it, so it seems like that's just too much. He dared to ask Janelle to forward it instead, and she ought to have scolded him by saying, "Kody, use your own phone. I told you I'm not playing messenger here. It's not my work and we're not married." While he's busy venting about how everyone allegedly betrayed him, poor Savannah has been repeatedly let down. In fact, it was him who abandoned them. It seems like some people don't understand what it's like to be in a long-term relationship and then have to move on after picking up the pieces. It may be challenging to comprehend Christine's timeline, but let's face it, she is in charge of her own journey, and she does it as she sees fit. You would need to be emotionally developed enough to understand her perspective in order to understand it. Despite all of the exposure from the show, she still lacks a great deal of life experience outside of her marriage because she was raised in a sheltered, Orthodox Mormon community and married young. Since her relationship with Kody never developed, she is navigating her new love like a teenager. Her children are a little taken aback by her newfound happiness because they have never witnessed mom in a relationship that truly consists of love. It's a little creamy too. And while it may be hard for the kids to witness their mother so publicly in love, Christine recently ended a 30-year, loveless relationship. She is not holding back from finding pleasure until someone else feels prepared. She's finally living for herself, so perhaps her children should shut their eyes if they feel uneasy. Peyton reacted immaturely with his strong masculine reaction. Additionally, it's toxic and disrespectful to a mother who has given everything to Richard, which is a hint that he doesn't even know David's name. Not all of her children are encouraging, which some find refreshing. It's really disgusting. 52-year-old Christine deserves to live her life to the fullest. She is prepared if she is. The narrative is over. Be mindful of that. The same thing may be said about Meri all day long. She ought to have departed sooner. Yes, Kody made it apparent that he was finished on camera. The manipulation that goes on behind the scenes, however, should not be disregarded. While Meri assured us that Kody continued to discuss her as a potential member of the family's future, we witnessed Robyn pleading with her to hold on. They undoubtedly gave her these similar lines off camera as well. Additionally, Kody urged her to come to Flagstaff, promising her a new beginning if he truly didn't want her there. He had many chances to inform her, but he let her wait since he needed her money. Recent remarks made by Kody regarding Meri have given the past a new perspective. Kody immediately agreed when Janelle said that he has always focused on the younger children, and it really got to him. Due to infertility issues, Meri, the first wife, was never able to have the large family of children that Kody obviously values. Consider how alienating it must have been to feel abandoned in such a large family. She ended up alone while she watched him dedicate himself year after year to the little children. Meri's comment about not being welcome to their dinner and choosing to cook her own says volumes if it doesn't incite resentment. Kody didn't prioritize her once she was out of the young mother stage, and the rest of the family followed suit. Even during coronavirus, when she complied with all the regulations, she was still excluded. Christine and Janelle didn't check in, and neither Robyn nor Kody invited her over. Her loneliness was ingrained in the family structure and wasn't merely incidental. The fact that Pristine's children cooked Meri's famous haystack meal because they missed the other mother's culinary customs so much, without mentioning Meri or sending out an invitation, is a minor but telling detail. Meri eventually became tired of waiting for an invitation that would never arrive, so Jess made her own table for her. It's as if she was already a ghost to them. She had been marginalized by her family for years, so it was long ago that she finally left. Kody was the puppet master in that family, which had strong and poisonous dynamics. In every polygamous relationship, the wives will attempt to win the husband's favor by avoiding the people he is avoiding. Janelle's refusal to play his game violated the unwritten rule that the wives must support him, which is why Kody is so upset that she didn't participate in to isolate Christine. Sadly, Meri took the brunt of that system. She was portrayed as the challenging one who deserved the treatment she received, and after the family accepted this perception, she was used as a scapegoat. After years of fighting it, she finally felt lonely and frustrated and started to snap, feeding into their story. The amount of criticism Meri continues to receive is, to be honest, perplexing. She was strict, to be sure, but in many ways she was also the glue. She wanted peace in the family, and put in a lot of effort to get money. Christine's jabs at Meri are becoming unwarranted and, to be honest, a little exhausting. She deserved more respect and support from the individuals she spent decades caring for. Why not simply end things if she's finished with Meri? She has a new beginning, found her true love, and is organizing her wedding. So why do you always bringing up Meri? For instance, it seems a little snobbish to invite Meri's child to the wedding but not Meri. She seems to be reminding everyone of Meri's outsider status by bringing up things like her ring melting down, or implying that she isn't included in holiday customs, which is just petty. If the two do not wish to be friends, that is one thing. But why even bring up Meri if Christine is truly moving on? This is not Meri's world. Ignoring and disparaging Christine would say more than these small jabs, and it would be more positive for her as she attempts to move on. The amount is actually quite astonishing. Instead of Meri herself, Christine tells us about her background. She includes a lot of unnecessary details about Meri's Vegas days and holiday restrictions. It seems as though she feels compelled to display Meri's prior treatment in order to support her own emotions or defend the way the family treated Meri. Meri certainly have flaws, but everyone does. Instead of being empowering, Christine's casual attitude toward Meri is beginning to come across as heartless. Christine has a lot to look forward to in her new life right now. Her point has been made. She has a nice ending and is free. Perhaps it's time to put that first and let Meri go into the past. Kody is a terrific backpedaling athlete. He only cares about us when his assets are at stake, so the moment Janelle brings up the possibility of him buying her out, he feels compelled to make things right. He hasn't worked at their relationship for years, but now that she's thinking about what's legitimately hers, he's suddenly invested. Janelle continues to give him the benefit of the doubt, which is really annoying, but she manages it with amazing patience. Janelle maintained her composure and laser-like focus on her objectives throughout this episode. Since Kody has been avoiding genuine conversations with her for a long time, she tried to get him to recognize the problem on video, even though she knew he would manipulate and deflect. She wasn't going to let him divert her attention since she knew he would try to talk in circles. She ultimately got what she wanted, which was proof that Kody isn't going to back down. Therefore, she must take legal action next. She has had enough of waiting for him to treat her fairly, and based on the preview, it appears that she meets Meri. If the two decide to battle for their respective halves of the property, this may be a game changer. Kody is going to have a serious wake-up call. Hopefully, Janelle takes measures to safeguard her future when Meri offers her some guidance on obtaining a release. She needs to quit hiding and take ownership of what is rightfully hers. Even though they lived 4 hours away, Robyn was already referring to Kody as her soulmate 2 months in, and marriage talks were well underway. It's fascinating to reflect on their early years and contrast them with what we're witnessing now with Christine and David in Season 1. Although they spend more time together, Christine and David are on a similar path and are receiving criticism for their rapid pace. Both partnerships progress swiftly. They both appeared hurried from the outside, but it's strange that Kody, who justified his fast-paced romance with Robyn, is now upset about how quickly Christine's relationship is developing. When you consider Kody and Robyn's present marital difficulties, the irony truly comes to the fore. When Robyn first joined the family, she was quick to criticize Christine and positioned herself as the ideal wife. They are currently in the same stage of their marriage as Kody and Christine were. Robyn would likely suffer even more than Christine did in the past if Kody brought in a fresh 31-year-old today. This is an example of the adage, what goes around comes around. It is understandable that viewers see a certain poetic justice in the situation, as Robyn's initial contempt toward Christine and the other wives is now going full circle. There's no denying Tony's presence on film. His remarks, which are rarely funny and typically fall somewhere between awkward and cringy, seem to be an attempt to elicit a response each time he appears. It's as though he's always trying to make a statement, but instead he simply ends up being outrageous. And Myselty doesn't make it any better. Instead of establishing boundaries, which, let's face it, would entail a degree of maturity that she doesn't exactly exude, she seems to support his shenanigans. To be honest, they are somewhat ideal for one another. In that regard, it appears that both of them enjoy attention and will stop at nothing to gain it. It would not seem too far off if they changed their name to the Look Captain couple. Consider yourself their friend. It must be exhausting. Their entire aura seems like it would be too much to handle on a regular basis, so you'd probably find yourself limiting how often you see them. People's eye-rolling is understandable. They bring a certain anarchy to the screen that is difficult to ignore but even more difficult to appreciate. Kody's most recent assertions on Coyote Pass are almost ridiculous. First, he's behaving as though he would. He starts off by saying, "Move away if Janelle built on the property," as though this were some overwhelming threat. And then he adds that little gem about Janelle allegedly phoning him once a week. What specific basic repairs does he think she would require his help with if she moved there? We all know that Kody is about as hands-on as a guy who needs directions only to hang a picture frame, yet he acts like he's some tough handyman. Considering that he most likely doesn't even own the toolbox and the work gloves, the whole manly man act doesn't quite stand up. At this point in the real world, they are merely a prop. You wouldn't need them unless you actually work with your hands, which Kody, with his immaculate, soft palms, obviously doesn't. Watching him attempt to sell Janelle on this entire scenario while contradicting himself by acknowledging that their relationship is over only serves to highlight the bad acting he's doing, saying that one minute he wants to get back together, and the next minute he's threatening to move if she dares build. It hurts to see them prolong this plot, acting as though there is still hope between them, even though the writing has been there for a long time. I'm here for every moment of the huge payoffs that this season has to provide. Janelle is reclaiming her authority. Christine is headed toward her real love story, while Meri is at last discovering her tribe and some happiness. I find it incomprehensible that there is so much disdain for the season. This is the exact type of drama that we watch, and to top it all off, Kody is being boxed out and will finally be held accountable for his previous actions. It's so lovely to see Robyn feel as alienated as she made everyone else feel for years. The producers are deserving of all the accolades for capturing this turmoil. It's hilarious to watch Kody struggle to retract his statements during interviews. I laughed so hard at that scenario with Janelle during lunch. It's funny to see him stumble because he can't keep his story straight. However, I see why some people are irritated. Over the past few years, particularly since Garrison's passing, it seems like they've omitted a lot of significant video in favor of creating drama. Furthermore, Kody's control-freak inclinations are obviously out of control. He is making a lot of effort to portray himself as a victim, which just serves to make him appear worse. So everything seems a little jumbled and meaningless. The interactions with Janelle, Meri, and Christine are undoubtedly the season's high points. Particularly, though I completely understand her sudden need for love, it can be difficult to see her navigate it, particularly if Christine has always been my favorite. Coherent storytelling is simply lacking these days. We had a well-defined timeline and plot arcs with talking heads in the previous seasons, which provided us with context. Currently, it's just a collection of clips that have been primarily altered to portray Kody and Robyn as the victims, which only serves to hurt them. I'm up for the crazy journey, though. With Kody, I finally had an epiphany. I realized that a single, basic reality is the source of all his rage. His marriages, kids, hair, and most importantly, his hold on power are all being taken away from him. The previous 2 episodes made this quite clear. Kody is so accustomed to using flirtation and attention to control his wife in order to achieve his goals. You could tell that Christine's departure drove him really insane because she just grey-rocked him. He then feigned to suddenly care about her and wished to rekindle their relationship when Meri was released. He's making an effort to act interested in their relationship now that he has Janelle, but it's painfully obvious that the property is his top priority. When she mentioned talking to a lawyer, his response was invaluable. The fact that she was unaffected by his typical charm and male appeal startled and infuriated him. It's a classic instance of narcissism. Kody has been throwing scraps to his first wives and children for so long that he is utterly confused about what to do now that his deceptive strategies are failing. He became an angry, bitter, and violent version of himself as soon as he began to lose control. Before his children discovered their voices and began to stand up for themselves, he adored them. His former spouses are no different. He abandoned them and trampled them underfoot with his abusive behavior once they ceased to be entirely dependent on him. Let's discuss Kody's honesty, or lack thereof here. He raged about Janelle being Christine's friend in the final segment of the show, which was the main source of his rage. Although Robyn, her children, and possibly Meri were the only people in his world that shunned Christine, he doesn't really give a damn about her. He has been such a jerk to Janelle and the children because of this. He added that he hoped all of his children would grow up and move close by, making a small kingdom for himself where he would be loved. He can't have imagined being left with simply Robyn and her children instead. He believed that a town full of fans would be screaming his praises for all eternity, but instead he is just bitter and struggling with the realities of consequences and autonomy. Regarding Meri, he's still hurting from the public humiliation of the catfishing incident, which only strengthened Kody's suspicion that she was betraying him when she claimed to need distance. Janelle, on the other hand, appears to want both sides. Despite her negative remarks about Kody, she still refers to him as honey and says she has affection for him. Simply put, that is disloyalty. Janelle is still Kody's wife, but Christine left after making her decision. Even though I disagree with their relationship's rules, you can't cross the line like that. She has made her decision and picked Christine, although Kody is not her best friend and is a polygamist. It doesn't seem sincere when she claims otherwise. Although I'm relieved she broke up with Kody, it's distressing that she still harbors feelings for him. The fact that Christine has the large family she has always desired must be a source of great frustration for Robyn. Christine has 6 children, Janelle has 6 children, and yes, I am still including Garrison, Leon, and 8 of David's stepchildren. That makes a whopping 21 children. Janelle is still her sister wife. Without Kody, Christine was able to create the large, contented family that Robyn had always dreamed about. To be honest, I don't think it affects Robyn at all, but I do hope she occasionally thinks about it and feels a little guilty for wrecking everything. Robyn put a lot of effort into breaking up that large family. She is exactly where she desires to be. You've got it exactly right. I debated this for a long time, but in the end, Robyn's words and deeds are never consistent. Although she says she wants a large family, I don't believe she ever truly did. In actuality, I don't think she's concerned about the others leaving, unless we're discussing the loss of money. She also doesn't seem to be troubled by Kody's poor connections with his other children. If anything, she's probably ecstatic to be at her ideal location.